Hi, my name is Linda Gunnar. I am the CEO and founder of Linda Perfection Creations. Linda Perfection Creations is an event planning company and wedding decor company. We cater to small events, large events. We do decor, we do home staging. Every event that need planning, we pretty much handle everything. We are the liaison, so even if you're doing DIY weddings and you need someone to help you navigate things and find vendors, we provide those services as well. I also do trainings for brides, future brides who want to plan their own weddings and want to learn the trick and tools and how to plan a wedding and make their dreams a reality. As we continue on this journey, today I'm going to be talking about the process that it took for me to get where I am. As we know, most business don't go overnight. It takes a lot of try and error and fail before you become who you are. And this is just take a journey down with me as I continue to share my stories of how my business became successful as it is now. Um, in my last video, I talked about my first wedding that I planned and how it was a tragic. Um, but I also, like I stated, I learned a lot from there. I started my business in 2019 in July, and 6 months after that, COVID hit. But prior to that, after I registered my business, one thing that I did was I looked around to see what programs that could help me. I would utilize the SBA, I utilized SCORE to get information to get my business plan. I have a business background. So, with that being said, every business that you're doing, you have to learn the trick and tools to that. I enrolled into WORC. It's a program for women, but it's not only women that's in the program. What it helps you teach you the different function of your business, how to get the right contact, the right market, how to market your business, to get a little bit more information. It was a 6 week program, which I did. It was amazing. I learned a lot, and even out of that, I also met some people that I'm still friends with, other business like minded people, and I took a lot of information from there. And even with that program, I was able to get a website for free for 2 years. That was a major impact with my business because when I first started, I was paying $45 a month. And to have that 2 years, that's a less income all for my business. And that's some of the challenges you face when you first start your business because for the first couple of years, every expenses you have, you are the owner, so it either comes from you, a family member, and things. And I didn't want to invest too much into it. Luckily for me, as a event planning and a wedding decor business, there's not much startup cost that I needed. The most thing I needed was $125 to register my business, to get my business cards, and the rest came as I started to do things. Um, when I planned, I started mostly maybe with birthday parties. I had one wedding, but I started with birthday parties. So when a client wants something, the look that they want, I will price them, and then I'll go ahead and buy those things that I need. So that how I started. So I wasn't even investing for the money. I really wasn't making any profit. The price that I would charge them, I would just go ahead and take and utilize everything they want, and then make them. But in the same process, I was still learning. Um, I didn't have that much experience with flowers. So I registered into the Temple University School in the Ambler campus for continued learning. That's how I was able to get seeing that they had a florist class, and I started to take a florist class to learn how to work with flowers, how to condition flowers, how to, it's one thing to just make a ball or make a centerpiece, but the techniques and the trays and things that gather, you want to be able to know these things because what happens that you see a lot of planner when you go to a room, they do these beautiful decorations, but you can still see all the mechanics and you can still see um, the design, the form, and everything that they use is still showing the piece, and that's something you don't want. So I personally, I'm a professionalist. Everything that I do, I want to be the best at it. Um, I know it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of determination, but if I'm talking about something, I want to be able to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. If I don't know, I want to research and find out what it was. So the fact that I was branching into something that was completely new, one of the tools that I used was being my own boss, but at the same time, utilizing that experience and education. And during the process of doing that, I was still working. I started planning birthday party for family and friends. What I wouldn't charge them anything. As always, I wasn't charging anything. Even when I started my business, I still wasn't charging. One of the best things that I did, and I'm not saying everybody should do that, but that works for me. Um, I planned a family friend wedding for free, 100%, nothing. I told them I'll plan your wedding for free. And the reason why I did that, I know a lot of people look at it like, why would you do that? Why would you plan a wedding for 125 guests for free? But I used that wedding to market my business. I told myself that by doing this, I'm putting my business into the limelight. I would eat up every cost. And I'm not saying it wasn't easy. It was a lot because I had to pay my staff. That came out of my pocket. I had to do everything that I did was out of my pocket. But the good thing out of that was one thing that I told the client that okay, everything that I used during the wedding would be mine. So they purchased everything that they needed for the wedding. I got to keep that. So that was the benefit of that as well. But the good thing about it was, yes, it wasn't easy, but I used that to establish my business. So as I started the branding process for that wedding, COVID hits. And because they got engaged in December, they wanted to do the wedding in July, but then COVID hit in March. Around the 15th, every divorce shuts down. I had to replan and replan and replan and replan. Um, Doing that, we did a smaller wedding. It wasn't anything. But even with that, I was still working. Mind you, this is a team at that time. I couldn't afford any staff. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the resources. So my mother, my nieces, my nephew, they were my backbone. They were my helper. Um, there was two staff that are my staff now that works with me as well. They used to work with me when I used to work for Panera Bread. Actually, Jessie used to work with me. Through Jessie, I met her best friend. And so I had a team of 8 people that helped me plan that wedding. And it turned out amazing. I was so proud of myself because this was something that, yes, I planned a wedding in the past, but this was the first thing that I was doing as a business owner. I was doing for me. And every ideas that I had and every tools that I used was things that I received from those classes, that I got from those classes that I took. And so it helped me. Yes, I had the skills, but the structure that I learned from the flower technique, I was able to make beautiful centerpieces. Yes, I knew how to do it before, but it stood out. And out of that, clients started to roll. And then another thing that happened was I did the Philadelphia Brighter Expo. It's a Brighter Expo where you meet thousands and thousands of brides. So I put myself into the limelight to showcase my work. So now I have material that I will showcase. And I started to showcase that. I started marketing on Google. I started marketing on Facebook because I had content as a business owner. So I had content from that wedding I utilized this to put myself in the public. And by doing that, things started to turn out. And I got clients after clients after client. And I'm not going to say that everything went smoothly after that. It was just all smooth sailing. There were still challenges. There were still things that came up, but it wasn't the same mistake that I made. I had contracts. I had things that I was doing that was working for me. So I learned from my past failure and it made me stronger. It made me utilize that business sense that, okay, I can do this. And then during COVID, I didn't have my job anymore. So this was the only income that I had because the war had shut down, no office was working, nothing was going on. This is what I had. And I took every energy that I had and invested into my business. And it made me who I am now. I can proudly say that I haven't worked for years. And I'm grateful for that. Well, I shouldn't say I haven't worked, but I mean, I haven't worked for anybody else besides myself. Um, it's a lot of work, but it pays off. My advice to you is that keep going, keep pushing. Sometimes things may not turn out the way you want, but learn from those mistakes. See how you can do to encourage those things, and you will succeed. I promise you, just don't give up. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Like, share, follow. Thank you again, and you have a wonderful day. Bye.